Welcome back to the Explanation Pro. Today I'll recap a horror film called Gonjiam, Haunted Asylum. Spoilers incoming. A phone video recording shows two teenage boys exploring the abandoned Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital. The rumor states that the hospital director killed all the patients and went missing. The two head to room 402, the intensive care unit, which no one has opened. One of the boys tries to open the door with a hammer but stops when they suddenly hear a sound of a ping pong ball. Their video ends abruptly with a shot of a mysterious figure looking at them through a door window. Later, the owner of the YouTube channel, Horror Times, Ha Jun, vlogs about the viral video, and he investigates whether the video clip is fake or not. After seeing news of the teenager's disappearance, he also decides to explore the building. He tells his viewers that it'll be their next stop for Horror Times' third horror experience squad. CNN reports that Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital is one of the 7 freakiest places on Earth. It opened on May 1961, but it closed on October 1979 after a mass suicide of patients and the disappearance of its director. There are many rumors about the hospital. There are also countless reports of people saying they heard wailing or saw ghosts after the asylum's closure. The biggest story is about room 402, the only locked room in the asylum. They say whoever tries to open that room will get cursed and die. So, Ha Jun continues to say that Horror Times is going to the Gonjiam Asylum on October 26, the day the asylum closed, to investigate the truth about the supernatural phenomena and the ghosts many people witnessed. He ends the video by asking the viewers who want to join them in their investigation. On the next day, Park Ji-hyun vlogs about being the first in the meeting place for Horror Times. Soon, the other selected participants arrive for the investigation and introduce each other as Ah Yeon and Charlotte Moon. Then, the Horror Times group introduces themselves as well: Lee Sung-wook, the primary host, Park Sung-hun, the main cameraman, and the captain of the squad Ha Jun. Later, another participant, Yoo Ji-yoon, arrives late. Ha Jun tells them some instructions and rules for the place. Later that night, the group hangs out to eat dinner, telling each other about the rumors and theories they heard about the asylum. Ha Jun shares with them that he expects their live stream of the asylum to reach about 1 million views. They soon enjoy their night with some shenanigans and beer. The next day arrives, D-Day, and they drive to their destination, vlogging and talking more about their game plan when they arrive. Ha Jun tells them their main goal is to open the infamous room 402. They spin a camera around, and whoever it lands on opens the door to room 402. The group cheers as it lands on Ji-yoon while he protests, but Ha Jun says it's final. Ha Jun tells them they will arrive early, so they decide to enjoy a dip in the lake. After a while of driving, they arrive at their destination, but they see it's all barricaded. They drive in through the back since there are police watching the entrance to prevent people from entering. They stop at a clearing and unpack the equipment from the van. They must climb up a hill to avoid the surveillance cameras on the main trail while their drone camera follows them from above. Later, they pitch a large tent and make all the necessary preparations for their investigation. Later that night, Sung-hun and Sung-wook head inside Gonjiam Asylum to install cameras. In contrast, the others watch them through the now installed cameras. The two return to the tent and report that nothing unusual has happened. They all eat dinner, and the squad shows them the equipment needed for the investigation, like a ghost detector and numerous cameras with body harnesses. Ha Jun tells them it's almost time, and the group is excited to go. After some time, they all set out to the building, but Ha Jun stays back in the tent to monitor their cams in the live stream. They head for the entrance to the building, and on their way, they see a pair of underwear, and they wonder what could have happened to reach there. They leave it and tie it to a tree as a marker for them on their way back. Ha Jun tells them they have over 12,000 views in the tent and will be going on air in a few more minutes. Soon, the group sees the building, admiring it from afar for a while before they head inside. They suddenly hear a sound, so they cover their lights, thinking it might be the nightly patrol. They hide for a moment before deciding to move forward. They soon get to the entrance and see some writing on the door, which says, "Enter, and you die," but they don't pay too much attention to it. Then, they start the live stream, with Sung-wook as the host introducing the viewers to Korea's first live horror show. They go up the stairs to the entrance to the second floor and enter the building upon Ha Jun's cue. Sung-wook narrates to their viewers that they have entered the building. They soon approach the reception area, and Ji-yeon and Charlotte go ahead of them. Charlotte reaches the reception desk and pours some holy water into a bowl she took from Myeongdong Cathedral. They leave a camera in front of it to capture the ghosts. Then Sung-wook tells the viewers they have already set up high-tech equipment at specific locations where people have witnessed supernatural phenomena and ghosts. He begins to brief the viewers about their next move, and suddenly, the door to the director's room shuts behind him by itself, and they shriek in shock. They all are scared, but Sung-wook tells the viewers they will go and check it out. They start going towards the director's room and find a group photo of the director with some patients and the hospital staff. Sung-wook notes that everyone in the picture is looking in different directions. He continues to tell the viewers of the rumor that the director killed all the patients and disappeared. They also find other pictures of the director. One is where she's getting an award, and the other is her playing ping pong, which explains the ping pong sound they heard from the viral video. They continued looking through some of the stuff they found. They suddenly heard a noise from the ceiling. They cry out in fear and see a head of hair falling through one of the ceiling holes. It looks like someone set it up as a prank. Ha Jun then tells them to wrap it up. So, Sung Wook tells the viewers that Sung Hun will be preparing a summoning ritual to bring out the vengeful spirits of the killed patients. Meanwhile, the other group members will split up and introduce the viewers to the horror spots on the first, third, and fourth floors. On the first floor, Ji-yeon narrates to the viewers her whereabouts and that Charlotte is with her. They move to the corridor and see some writings on the wall, saying that ghosts are living there. They later find the laboratory and enter. Numerous medical charts are on the floor, burnt traces on the wall, and various laboratory equipment are on the floor. Charlotte sees a doll in a cabinet. She accidentally smashes a jar on the floor and sees a dead chicken with an awful smell on the floor, making them leave the room. On the third floor, Ji-yoon feels that the place is colder than the second floor, but Ah-yeon measures the temperature and says it's the same as the second floors. They see the rumored broken ping-pong table. They both continue to explore the rooms on the floor. Ji-yoon tells the viewers that the shower room they're in had ghosts reported to be spotted, so they installed a motion camera. They go to the bathing room. Ji-yoon freaks out as he sees a head of hair in the tube, but Ah-yeon investigates it and shows him that it's just a wig. Ji-yeon and Charlotte are now on the fourth floor. They find room 402, which no one has entered since the hospital's closure. It used to be the intensive care unit of the hospital. Many have tried to enter but failed and are said to have died strange deaths. They tell the viewers that they will soon unravel the mystery around the room. After this, they all go back to the director's room to do the summoning ritual to call out the ghosts. Red strings, small bells on the ceiling, and a table for the ritual. They perform the ritual, and they wait to see what happens next. Soon the candles go off, and the small bells tied across the room for the ritual start to ring themselves. They all get scared and run out of the room, but the Horror Times crew staged it to gain more views. Meanwhile, the stove suddenly lit up in the tent, but Ha Jun quickly puts it out. His computer starts glitching, and the lights suddenly turn off. He tries to fix the computer, then the lights come back on, but the computer is still glitching. Later, they're all in the laboratory. Charlotte finds out the doll is now on a shelf on the other side of the room. They note it's the same doll one of the patients in the picture they saw earlier was holding. She freaks out when Sung Wook touches it. She's already terrified, but the crew is behind it. They all move on to the third floor in the collective care room. They see some wooden cabinets used for the patients. Ji-yeon puts her hand in the hole of one of the closets, only for something unknown to pull her hand as she tries to remove it, leaving scratches on her arm. The closet door slowly opens by itself, revealing nothing inside, then Charlotte's scarf lifts itself. They all run out screaming. Meanwhile, Ji-yoon and Ah-yeon are on the fourth floor installing the infrared flashes, unaware of what is happening. Then, they suddenly hear the ping-pong ball sound, but the EMF meter still doesn't detect any ghosts, so they continue with the installation. On the first floor, Charlotte and Ji-yeon discover that the weird writing on the wall, which reads, "Let's live," now mysteriously reads, "Let's die." At this point, they have decided to leave the asylum and go back to the tent. Meanwhile, Ha Jun discovers that the writings changed from the recordings, but he tells Sung Wook and Sung Hun that the writings didn't change. He's so concerned about the views they're getting, as they have now reached about 300,000 views. Ha Jun checks other video recordings and discovers something strange. He sees strange footage containing all 6 people in the building and wonders who recorded them. As Charlotte and Ji-yeon head back to the tent, they see the mark they left earlier and are relieved that they're on track. They move further only to see the mark again, and then they begin to smell a familiar awful smell. Charlotte looks down and sees the materials from the laboratory and the dead chicken. She gets more frightened and calls for Ji-yeon. But Ji-yeon goes into a trance, and her eyes open entirely black. Terrified, Charlotte flees toward the base camp but finds herself back at the asylum in room 402. Ji-yeon is in a corner with the doll. A naked man appears, and Charlotte is attacked and pulled into the darkness. Meanwhile, Sung Wook and Sung Hun are in the shower room on the 4th floor. As they continue recording, they suddenly hear a sound from the supply room and head there. In the supply room, they see a wheelchair move by itself. A cabinet from the ceiling drops to the floor. Everything in the room begins to float, and flying objects knock out both boys. Sung Wook awakes and gets dragged away by an invisible force. Then, Sung Hoon tries to run back to the door, but it closes and knocks him unconscious. After a while, he wakes up and runs to Ji-yoon and Ah-yeon, who are still trying to open the door to room 402. Sung Hoon informs them that the show is supposed to be scripted, but actual paranormal forces have attacked them, and they need to rescue Sung Wook. Ha Jun sees this. He quickly dresses up to go into the building to stop them, as the views are now almost 1 million. Suddenly, a ping-pong ball bounces toward the Sung Hoon, Ji-yoon, and Ah-yeon. They hear the ping-pong ball sound again, and the ball suddenly hits the wall where they are. The doorknob of room 402 starts to turn, and they begin to hear Charlotte hitting the door from inside, asking for help. Still, unbeknownst to them, Charlotte has already died. After a while, room 402 opens, and they suddenly find themselves in the room with no door to escape, standing in knee-deep water. Numerous ghosts appear, possessed one after the other and eventually swallowed by the darkness. Meanwhile, as Ha Jun heads to the building, he sees a strange movement at one of the windows on the 4th floor. He continues into the building, and upon getting to the 4th floor, he looks down from the same window and sees himself. He gets scared and then begins to hear the sound of wailing. A ghost appears behind him, and he gets strangled to death, seemingly by the spirit of the director herself. Later, Sung Wook regains consciousness and finds himself strapped to a wheelchair. He hears strange sounds as the wheelchair moves toward the door. The door suddenly opens, and he's thrown out to his death. Back at the tent on Ha Jun's computer, the live stream had cut off after Sung Hoon admitted the stream was supposed to be scripted. Viewers were dropping and claiming the broadcast was fake. Despite what Ha Jun saw on his monitor, the view count was less than 1 million and peaked at 503 views. The bowl of holy water starts to boil, implying holy water has the effect of repelling ghosts. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe my channel for more videos like this. See you in the next video.